So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast here with Pine Hill Records. We're gonna ask them some questions today. I'm gonna start. So, what inspired you to start the label, and what does the label name mean?
Uh, I started the label out of this is just brute honesty right off the bat. I started the label out of necessity, not because I wanted to. I had already done a record label when I was younger before that, and really two of them. And just given the way things are today, I mean, you're signing up for impending loss, and I just formed it because I needed a way to put out my own band stuff. I didn't want the back of the LP to be like blank. Yeah, and I ended up just taking it a lot farther than I thought I was going to, and putting out a lot of stuff. And it's been cool. Like it's seriously like great to just put out stuff that means a lot to me and whatnot. So that's kind of what inspired me to do that. And then Pine Hill is this like very old graveyard in my city, and it's one of my favorite spots in the city. So that's why I named it that. It took like 90 seconds to think of the name.
All right.
All right.
So you didn't
Solid.
like it. It's not like most band names where people spend like days trying to come up with it. You're just like, what am I gonna name my label? Oh, that graveyard.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was very quick,
Okay.
very very quick.
All right, solid. So how do you go about scouting bands for the label?
Um, uh, I really don't. I really don't. It's a good question that I've never even thought of. I don't really look for bands because like financially, pretty much everything I put out kills me, which is fine. It's not like someone has a gun to my head to do it, but so I put out what I love, and typically, as far as a business model goes, that's not a good idea for a record label, because it shouldn't matter what your opinion is of the music. If it's good for business, it's good for business. But I mean, I don't. There is no business. So like, I mean, and the small amount of acts that are moving, like, at least relatively sizable numbers in indie records, speak, like, those bands are so taken up, like so taken up by other labels. So like, I basically, it's bands that I love, but I'm not just gonna throw out a band just solely because I think it's awesome. Like, the band needs to like be an active touring band, or like be an old band with like a following. There has to be. It's got to be backed by something. Like, I'm not just gonna like throw down 3Gs on like some random whatever because I like. I mean, that's just like senseless.
Yeah,
Like,
I
Yeah.
get that. So
Makes
it's like
sense.
it's being smart with your money and also the bands that you enjoy listening to, pretty much.
yeah, it's balancing out. It's balancing out those two things and determining what will work, and that kind of determines what I'm going to actually put out.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
solid.
So are there any bands on your radar right now then that you're looking to like pick up and?
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Are we going to speak any into existence during this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different things coming for Pine Hill Records. I will say that. A
Okay.
lot of things that, like, what I'm doing now to people that think traditionally and think in terms of, how do I word this? Everything has its own image and everything has its own scene, and some of the things I'm going to be doing don't fit the bubble of anything I've done before, which I find interesting. It's in a handful of years, it's going to be a pretty unclassifiable label as far as like what we're about. I mean, the root is always going to be punk rock. The root is all, that's my foundation. But I mean, like, we're going to be stretching far beyond that, like, in the not so distant future.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Exciting.
Eyes emoji. So, are you working with any bands right now? Like a new record or a new single? Are you doing anything right now?
Yes, I'm definitely. So I just did a very short. We have our regular releases, and then we have our super exclusive series releases, which those are literally just 100 count pressings, hand numbered, like very limited. A friend of mine, Brad Marino, just did a full Ramones cover album of one of the Ramones' lesser popular albums, but he did a really good job, and that sold out in like 4 days. That just happened within this past month. And then the only other thing I have coming up, which is my next thing, is I'm doing a band called Zygote, which was formed in the late 80s. There's a bigger band known in like the punk and crust and metal scene called Amoebics. They when they broke up in the late 80s, they formed Zygote, and Zygote only did one album, and it got pressed, but never in the US before. And it's definitely like an underground like sought release, but it's something that definitely needs more eyes on it. And I've had that release since I was like 15 or 16. So like I really wanted to like kind of put that out, and I reached out to the dudes, and they're all about it. So that's the next thing. It's cool. Like that's actually a cool one for me, because I'm putting out something I've been listening to for half of my life now, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's
definitely
exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome that you got their blessing as well. They were like, oh yeah, sure, go for it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I love it when that happens. I mean, it's sometimes you meet, sometimes you get to know or connect with people that you listen to and that you look up to, and it's very disappointing, the result. And other times it's the polar opposite, where they're super down to earth and they're still passionate about it. And in this case, they're still passionate about it, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part of like owning and managing this label?
I just enjoy, I guess I enjoy, I just like packing up packages and, throwing in a couple extra things for people, and just like really just the raw connection of the music to this person, like just making that connection and being the person that's making that connection is the most satisfying thing to me, because that is just like such a trimmed down form of art at this point. And I'm so thankful that vinyl has been on the uprise and like made a serious comeback, and it's never going to be hitting numbers like things hit in the 80s and the 90s and all that. But I would say that's the biggest satisfaction. It's just reaching out to the people that still care, and just getting this directly into their hands, and just kind of, and also putting kind of reviving things for bands that like maybe the record inspired them to do to do something or do a tour or something, like stuff like that is the biggest satisfaction.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I like that. So what is it like starting a record label, and what is something that you weren't able to research in advance that like nobody told you about?
Well, the answer to that question is very different now than what it would be in even not so long ago times. I mean, even 15 years ago, I mean, it's different. I haven't encountered anything where I'm like, holy shit, I wish I knew about this. Not like I haven't encounter anything wildly catastrophic that would have been seriously good to know in advance, but I've just picked up on little things that you do and don't do, and I feel like there'd be a lot more to answer that question if there was still more of an industry, but things are so ghetto now, and things are so like just there's so much less formality with it that it really, a lot of those tips and things from the past are kind of squashed. I mean, things are getting real weird, like real weird. So I think that the model of learning a record label is it hasn't been as traditional or as involved, because I think the whole music industry is relearning itself right now. So it's a weird time.
For sure. Yeah. So where do you see the label in the next 5 years? You kind of hinted at it in a couple questions ago.
I really don't know. Like I have a lot. I have a lot of artists, like several artists, you know, in particular, that I'm very, very, very passionate about, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of work. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm long term committed to a bunch of stuff that's gonna be taking place over the next several years. So I know like what I'm gonna be involved in partially, but I definitely in 5 years, definitely a more diversified catalog. And just a better catalog. I mean, I try to, with every release, I try to make things better and better, and put out bands that are more known, more appreciated, more while still staying true to, like, okay, if this is seriously awesome and the band is pushing themselves, like, okay, this might sneak out on the label too, you know, like like keeping a balance of that. But just a whole lot more of that, and a more extensive, better catalog by then.
Okay.
All right. Solid.
So I do want to ask you one more question. Is there anything on the horizon for your band, the Cryptics?
Oh yeah, I've been like wild busy with the Cryptics. We just finished wrapping up our next studio album. That's getting mastered. We are filming 7 music videos for
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it might even be 8. I'd have to read the listing. I mean, it's silly. Like there's actually more videos for songs than there aren't. Like they're like over half the album has a video.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But the recording is done. I think like 4 to 5 of those videos are completely done being filmed. We still got several scenes from the last 2 or 3 to go. That's been really, really involved, because some of the videos have 8 different shot locations and days and times. I mean, it's insane. So beyond compiling all that and getting that album completely ready to as far as video and audio, we actually even have the next album done, and we're.
Do you sleep?
I get up, I do get up now in the 6s, like daily, no matter what. I just hustle, I can't not. So we're starting to learn that next album too, so we can be working on that while this stuff's getting mastered. I mean, we really want to like get ahead. Like we want to use this whole time and everything right now as a blessing to get ahead. And we're not just going to sit here and wait for the world to open up. We're going to do what we would be doing if the world was in full spin, and get ahead.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Oh my God.
So that is all the questions we have for you today. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
I'm so unprepped for things like this. Like, I don't know if at the slim chance you are hearing this, you being anybody, I don't know, check out the website, check out pinehillrecords.com. There's such a array of releases. There's got to be something you're into, and all sorts of stuff to come. It's kind of all I can leave it at.
All right. Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been Pine Hill Records and Really Good Noise Podcast.